Welcome back to my channel. Happy Monday, everybody. We are getting into a Fenty video today, and I already did my eyeshadow. And if anyone's curious, I did my eyeshadow with the Jawbreaker palette from Jeffree Star. For some reason, I really wanted to use this palette today, so I did my eyes first. But today, I want to try out the Pro Filter foundation with, they're both called Pro Filter. Literally everything in Fenty is called Pro something. Like, so the Soft Matte Longwear Foundation and the Hydrating Longwear Foundation. I wanted to try both of these out. I've used this one twice so far, so I'm still kind of testing it out before I get a full review from it. I do like it so far, but I'm not obsessed with it. It's not like this foundation where this foundation is like my ride or die. It's one of my favorite foundations. But today I wanted to try out the new Soft Silk Primer with the Soft Matte Foundation to see how these go together. And then I wanted to use the original Fenty Beauty Primer, the Instant Retouch Primer, with the new foundation, if that makes sense. So we're gonna get into that, wear test, all of that stuff. And also, before I forget, just a little update on my arm. It's getting pretty freaking bruised. It's looking more and more like an alien is coming out of my arm every day, and it's healing nicely. So thank you to everyone who gave me such sweet, hope you feel better comments. I appreciated it. Let me take the original primer and I'm gonna put this on the normal side of my face. And I still don't know how I feel about this brush yet. This brush, I'm having a little bit of like a love-hate with it, where I kind of like it, but I just don't know if I like it with this foundation for some reason. Like, I normally love foundation brushes like this, but I don't know. When I use it with that foundation, it's just a little weird. And then I'm gonna take the Soft Silk Primer, which I'm so obsessed with this new primer. I think it feels really good on the skin. And the new mattifying primer, oh my gosh, they feel really nice. I actually wish I had both of those primers in like the beginning of summer, because they would have come in clutch, but I did not have them. I know, I just feel like this primer is so like cooling and hydrating, like the best way I can describe it. Like on this side of my face, it feels very like smooth, like filtered, and then this side is like almost like I put a moisturizer on. So if you like the Hangover primer or like any of those hydrating primers and you like Fenty, I definitely think that you're gonna like this Soft Silk Primer. Let's get into this foundation. I'm just gonna use a pump and like a half to start with. And I'm gonna start off with kind of dabbing it around. And I do know ahead of time that this foundation is lighter than the original foundation, but I ain't going nowhere today, so I ain't worried about it. I'm gonna buff it in. Like, I feel like this brush, like all of the other Fenty brushes, I like them because of how they distribute the product. But with this one, I just feel like it doesn't distribute it as effectively as the other Fenty brushes. And it could be just with this foundation, but I feel like I kind of have to maneuver it a little bit more. Like, as you can see, it gets a little streaky. So in that case, what I did last time was I just took the brush and I wiped the excess product off on a towel, and then I just went over all the other spots and kind of dabbed over it, and it helped it look a lot smoother, not so kind of caked on. This brush is a ride or die for me. This is the Fenty Beauty Foundation Brush 110, and the other one that I use is 115. And we're gonna take the original foundation. I love how this brush applies. It just layers it up and blends it in so nicely. See, this foundation, this 150, matches me really well right now because we're in the middle of the summer, but I feel like this hydrating foundation is going to match me better in the winter, and since it's pretty much towards the end of summer, I figured that I should get 120 instead of 150, so that's why it's a bit of a different color. All in all, like the original Fenty foundation, I love the way it looks, I love the way it blends out, I love the way it lasts. The tip of my nose is just not wanting to cooperate. I'm just gonna put the original Fenty foundation on the tip of my nose because for some reason this hydrating foundation doesn't want to stick to my nose. All right, now I'm gonna do the concealer in 120, and I do love this concealer a lot. I want to know how y'all's weekend was. It's Monday. Let me know what y'all been doing today. Are you working? Anybody have a case of the Mondays? I know I get a case of the Mondays sometimes. Doing my makeup and filming definitely helps with all of the stress throughout the week. Like even last night, I just sat down and did my makeup before I took a shower, and it just felt so relaxing. Let me know if anybody else gets that way. I freaking love that feeling when you have like a rough day, like a long day, and you kind of just want to sit down and just like be by yourself, put on makeup, forget about everything else. Like, I don't know, I feel like that just helps my day so much. And I am gonna zoom you guys in to show you the differences of the foundation. I feel like I have a hair on my face. Oh my god, I do. Look, it's a little dog hair, I already know. Get off on my face. Oh my gosh. It's a bourbon hair. That's what kind of dog hair that is. Now I freaking totally messed up that whole part of my foundation. The two different foundations. I definitely still feel like this one just looks better on my skin. I don't know if it's like the brush or maybe it was the primer or what it is, but I feel like this hydrating foundation just doesn't look as good as the original foundation. Can I get into my Fenty drawer? Who is ready to see some Fenty eyebrow pencils on Friday? I am so excited. So the eyebrow pencils come out on the 23rd, which is this Friday. So y'all best be subscribing and putting your bell notification on so that you get notified when I upload my video with the brow pencils. I'm so excited. I can't even tell you guys, like, oh my gosh, like literally the only other thing that Fenty needs to come out with is blush and mascara. And then we have like a whole face of Fenty officially. And I really want Fenty to come out with another eyeshadow palette because I like the Moroccan Spice palette, but I want like something else from Fenty, like the color scheme of the summer collection, but in an eyeshadow palette. I think that would look so awesome. Let me know what you guys think. And then I'm just gonna take the powder brush and just kind of dust off the rest of the powder. Surprisingly, I'm not the biggest fan of the Fenty powder. I love the smell of it, but overall of like lasting power, it's not my favorite for lasting all day long on me. I definitely feel like my Laura Mercier and my Kat Von D powder last a little bit longer for me, and that could be because this is a really fine, really mattifying powder, so it could be that. But overall, I love the way it looks on my skin, but it doesn't hold in my oils all the way, and it's a really good blotting powder. But overall, as a setting powder, it's not my favorite, but I use it all the time because I love the way it smells. In the Sun Fenty bronzer. Love this so much. This one's probably my favorite for day to day, but if I'm going for like a super bronzy look, I definitely use like all three of them every time. And they also work really well as eyeshadows as well, because the Moroccan Spice palette doesn't have a lot of transitional shades for my skin tone, like using these bronzers as like a transition shade. Oh man, I just love the way this bronzer looks. Oh, Fenty also doesn't have a setting spray. Another thing that could be a thing. Poolside and 7-day weekend looks like this. I'm gonna mix these two together and use it kind of like a highlight and a blush at the same time. Like I said, I'm not going anywhere today. I'm having fun with makeup today. And then I put a little bit of 7-day weekend on the bridge of my nose. And then we're gonna crank it up a little bit. And we're gonna take How Many Carat. This one is very much loved. And I'm just gonna put that on the highest part. All right, I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup really fast, and then I'll do a check-in, and then we're gonna get into the wear test of these two. All right, so I just finished the rest of my makeup. I added my brows, lower lash line, and lips. But I also wanted to get into kind of the differences and prices and like the nitty gritty stuff. I normally have all the prices and stuff in my description box for pretty much every video. Both of the foundations are both $35 each. You get the same amount of foundation in each of them, so it's honestly like one or the other, whichever one's best for your skin type. As for the primers, they are all $32, and then I have the mini one here, but the full size of the primers, each one is $32. The True Matte, Soft Silk, and the Instant Retouch. So the Instant Retouch is the original one, the True Matte is the mattifying primer, and the Soft Silk is the hydrating primer. And then this brush is actually more expensive than the foundation. It is $36. Very pricey, but I do love all of the Fenty brushes. All of the ones that I've had for a pretty long time, they hold up pretty well. They don't shed, they don't get really weird bristles. I love all of the Fenty brushes, so I do like spending more, even though they are a bit pricey. I do love them all. So this Pro Filter Hydrating Longwear Foundation comes in the same amount of shades as the Soft Matte Foundation. They both come in 50 shades. They both have the same numbering system. So this one's 150, this one's 120, and then same with the concealers. The concealers have the same numbering system, and they have 50 shades of the concealer as well. The hydrating foundation is medium to buildable coverage. I don't find it very buildable on my skin type. I'd rather say that this is just more of a medium coverage. It does look like skin, it does look really good, but I wouldn't say it buildable to full because I don't have a really good experience building this up. You can build it up a little bit with a sponge, but it's not as buildable as the original foundation. Long lasting. This is pretty long lasting for a hydrating foundation, though it's not as long lasting as the original for my skin type. And this does have a natural finish with a powder over it. You can still see that it has like this more of a shine to it, especially like on my forehead. You can tell like as I move around, like this side definitely has more of a glow to it, ignoring the highlight, but this side definitely way more matte. So I would say it is like a natural finish. They do say that this is for normal, dry, and combination skin. I do have combination skin. I do think that I'm gonna like this more in the winter when my skin is a bit more dehydrated and needs an extra boost of hydration, because that is one thing with the Soft Matte Foundation is that I really like it in the warmer season, but once it gets into the drier season it doesn't work as well for me. So hopefully this one will. But I do think if you do have pretty dry skin that you're gonna like this foundation, because I can tell like where I am dry, it lays over pretty well. It doesn't look really textured. It doesn't clean on to any kind of weird, you know, that dry texture. And then also interesting thing is that on Sephora's website, underneath where it says how to apply this, it does suggest that you get the best results with this foundation with the Instant Retouch Primer, which I thought was interesting because they did release the Soft Silk Primer with the hydrating foundation. I thought that was kind of interesting, and that's another reason why I wanted to do different primers on each side, but that is kind of the nitty-gritty. I know I normally do that while I'm talking and applying, but I wanted to chill out and relax and chit chat with you guys and then get into the nitty-gritty part. So let me know if you like how I did this, but I'm gonna go and do a wear test. It's pretty hot outside per usual. It's Texas summer, so we're gonna see how each of these last. It is kind of cold in my house right now, but I do have a couple things to do outside today, so we're gonna see if the sweat, humidity, heat is gonna last up against these two. Alright, so I played with the dog toy a little bit, but I'm about to take my makeup off. It is almost dinner time, and this side is definitely showing more oils through my skin than the other side, and I did take my lip off because it was getting a little too much. But I just wanted to zoom you guys in so that you could see it's not settling the nicest around my nose, and it has creased more on this side than it did on the other side. I want to say it's about the same for my forehead. It's creased about the same, but overall this side is definitely way more suitable for like going outside, going in the heat, sweating, oils, etc., which is why I think I'm gonna like this foundation more in the winter. But if you do have pretty dry skin, I do think that you should try this out, especially if you think that the original Fenty foundation was too drying for you. Then definitely check out the other one. I personally think that this one is definitely my ride or die, that like if I'm going to Six Flags, if I'm going somewhere all day long, then I'm definitely gonna grab this foundation over this foundation. But all in all, I do still like this foundation. I just don't think that with the climate and my skin that it's the best foundation for me right now. But y'all know I'm a huge Fenty fan, so obviously I'm going to love it. But that is my final review for the Fenty Hydrating Long Wear Foundation. I will be doing a whole Fenty base on Friday when they come out with the brow pencils, and I'll show you guys a whole brow video. So if you have any questions about the brow pencils or requests in how to do that video, or if you want to see something, I don't know, you want to see swatches, you want to see it on my brows, let me know in the comments. But if you like this video, please give it a big ol' thumbs up. And my bruise is getting a little bit more bruised as this video went on. I noticed that earlier today. I was like, that looks a little different from earlier. But this is the end of this video. If you want to watch my last video talking about what happened to my arm, then that video is going to be right here. If you want a video suggested to you by YouTube, it's going to be right over here, and then my face will be somewhere over here. You can click on it and subscribe to my channel.